I am Coach Robin Renee. I own Alpha to Omega Holistic Therapeutic Services. I am physically located right outside the Chicagoland area, but everything is virtual now. So you will have access to me through the internets.
Nice. And has that always been the case, or is that like a pivot that you've had to make?
Pivot. Rona told me to do something different. So yeah, we had to pivot. Yeah. Took everything online, and it's actually worked out. So.
Great. No, and the funny thing is too, now, did you pivot kicking and screaming, or was this like in the plan and something you were going to get to eventually?
Well, it was a kind of sort of in the plan because one of the facilities that I work with, the owner actually relocated to LA, but still wanted Pilates. So we were doing some online stuff. And so physically, I was doing just pop-ups. And then I decided, for myself, I'll just take everything online because it was working out, well. So
yeah.
So it wasn't a kicking and screaming, no.
Okay, good. Yeah, because and some people are like going and kicking and screaming, and they can't wait to get back so they can just drop their online product just to get back to their real people. So what does that look like for you? Like where do you think this will land when you're right open?
Now the kicking and screaming is me going back into a studio. I'm not interested. No, yeah, I'm not interested. I'll do pop-ups, because I do like outdoor. So I'll do pop-ups for outdoor, but yeah, I'm not that interested in going back into a studio.
No. So did you have like one studio primarily you worked out of, or were you just kind of more like subcontracting and just running your business wherever before?
Both, because the one that I was with, I was with her for two or 3 years. That's the one who relocated to LA, and then I would just do pop-ups at other studios or do like sessions of different groups. It could be a sorority, a book club that wanted to just book so many sessions of group classes just to have fun, and so I would do it that way.
Nice. So the title of your company again was like holistic therapeutic services. So can you talk like about the broadness, the breadth of that name?
Okay, so Alpha to Omega from beginning to end.
Yes.
It started out of a necessity back in 2002 of just life happening like really fast. That was my early, parenthood years and, marriage, and it was just a lot. Life was happening a lot. And so I needed to find ways for me to slow down or ways for me to sanity as well as my health. So I started getting into aromatherapy, massage therapy. So I got like certifications from pretty much you name it. And so it initially started as a mobile spa party business.
Okay.
So I would do mobile spa parties. Yeah. And that took off, and then I had a product line. I used to make my own product. I still make my personal products, but I would actually make products to sell out of essential oils. But, supply and demand, and then the cost of, keeping those essential oils just wasn't, it was no longer my ministry to do it that way. And I didn't want to cut any products, in order to make it stretch. And so I let that go, and I would just do it personally for myself. And then I still make like gifts. I'll make gifts for people, making different products that I used to make. And so that's where the business started from. I became a personal trainer in, I think, 2008. Okay. So fitness, movement, that's always been a part of me. I'm an athlete, so that's always been a part of me. And so I would have the friends who wanted to come exercise with me or come work out with me, and it kind of turned into well, why don't you teach a class, or why don't you teach a class? Okay. And so I started, volunteering at my church. And so that's when I became a coach. I became a cheer coach. We had a ministry at our church. That was cheerleaders, right? So I became a coach, a cheer coach. And so with the business, I kind of fed those things into it, the physical, the emotional, the social, and it just encompassed everything in terms of creating a well-balanced life is where it came from.
Yes. Nice. So then, and then where did the Pilates come into that?
At a training, and I had to fill in some hours for some CEUs, and I was like, okay, this looks interesting. But the instructor, Abby Apel, she was out of Equinox in South Beach, Miami. She was dynamic. That Pilates instructor, she was dynamic. So that she drew me in, not by convincing me of doing anything, but it was just the way that she moved and the way that she taught made me want to learn more. So I'm like, okay, well, let me get into this. And so I would do, other trainings, and I started doing classes, and, so it evolved through the years. And as I became older, you hit your 40s, then you hit your 50s, your body is like, Yeah, you might not be able to do that, as well. So there were different ways that I wanted to continue to move but still be challenged. And
Yes.
low impact in terms of my demographic, it started to become a higher demand for low impact exercises.
Right,
And so
right.
it started as a supplement to the physical, to the personal training and to the group fitness training. And then it just grew. And then Rona was like, yeah, you're here. So let's
Yeah,
just do
yeah.
this thing. Yeah.
Right. So then, so would you identify yourself as a Pilates instructor, or is this just like another tool in your toolbox with everything else that you do?
No, I'm honing in. I'm moving in. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm settling in into this arena. Yeah.
Very cool. I feel like I've settled into it as well. Like as much as I do personal training and I actually that's not fully true. I've bounced around with it a little bit. Like I've called myself a personal trainer and then I called myself like a sport conditioning specialist. And then, and then I was like, well, the Pilates instructor. And I scrapped all those and just put movement specialist, you
Well,
know?
I identify as a mindful movement guide on your journey through Pilates. Like I'll be your mindful movement guide on your journey through Pilates today, is how I introduce myself.
Okay.
It's your adventure. You choose your course, you pick your path. I suggest some things just like a regular tour guide, and your body may say, we're not doing that. You listen to your body.
Right, exactly. So you've been very mindful with your choice of words. So then if I was to ask you, bump into you on the street and say, what do you do? What do you
I
open
help
with?
people move to feel better.
Nice. That should invite a couple more questions.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah,
It's like, well,
that's
what are
good.
they moving? What are they doing?
Hmm.
But they're not running, they're not
That's
jumping,
good.
there's
That's
no
good.
difficult choreography. So that's the key. That's the pull. No running, no jumping, no difficult choreography to master, but you're going to continue to move, and you're going to be able to create a better connection between what your mind and what your body is doing.
Yes. It's so funny. I love, we're preaching to the choir here, right? Like I get that, and that makes perfect sense to me. But it's just interesting how society is now shifting to appreciate that more. Like there's more of appreciation for that, whereas before, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday too, everything was about, how big are your numbers for your squat, your deadlift, and your bench. If
Mm-hmm.
I, as a man, I'm going to get into working out, get into exercise, I need to sweat. I need to feel that burn. I need to not waste my time doing all that mind body stuff. I need to get into the real stuff.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
in order to get into the real stuff, you do need to have a good connection between your mind and your body, because it's the foundation of what you do. You can mimic what somebody else is doing, but do you understand the mechanics behind what they're doing? If you understand the mechanics behind it, then you're going to get a better result, because you
Yes.
know what to do from the inside out. You're not just mimicking what somebody's doing.
Yes. Yes, exactly. That's like my whole like academic life. Like I think I remember a teacher said it to me one time. He said, "Memorize nothing, understand everything."
Hmm. Hmm.
Right? Like I mean, you could sit there and we could read Men's Health magazine all day long and just do a couple exercises, or we could take the time to understand what our actual body needs and what is happening within it, and then it's internalized. We own our movement practice at that moment.
Yeah, and then it's a process too. So, like, were you speaking of academics? So for me, architecture was supposed to be my major when I went to college. That's a whole other podcast. But because I like the intricate,
It's
details of
yes.
architecture. But what I would do in my classes, I wanted to build a model first. And my
Uh,
instructor was, nope, you need a blueprint. I'm like, but I know what I'm doing. Like I'm seeing it. He's like,
you
no, because
seen, yeah.
something could be an eighth of an inch off. It could be a 16th of an inch off. I had to do the blueprint. I had to do the 3D drawings. I had to do all of that. And then I'm like, okay, I see what you're saying, but I still could have built it. In my mind, I was a kid. As a kid, I still built it. He's like, yeah, but your building would have came crashing down because you're missing something.
Right. Your building would have been like slanted.
But it would have been looking nice, though. It was looking nice.
Right.
But we know that's not the key, right? It's
But
what's
that's
underneath, what's in that blueprint.
exactly. There's a whole lot of people walking around that aesthetically look pretty good.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
And that's what people need to know, and people need to understand that. It's just like with the way people spend money, in they call it the fitness industry, but I'm going to call it like the beauty industry with, the
Hmm.
shots and injections and the surgery. it's no shade against anybody who wants to get that, but the desire for you to have that is superseding you like logic. You know, if you do that and you look a certain way, what did you sacrifice to get that snatch waist when eating right, you know, drinking your water and exercising would have given you that same result? It may have taken a little bit longer, but your foundation would have been there and it will hold up a lot better. You don't have to go back and keep getting, you know, get cut again and more injections. And so the foundation is extremely important.
Absolutely. That architecture comment did resonate with me because I went to school initially to get into architecture and then pivoted 19 times to land right here, right? So I feel you on that.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's a good comment, you know, and about just like the beauty industry and, you know, taking time with that foundation. And that reminded me actually, Robin, like one of the things that I saw in a post earlier this week was someone talking about how they've fallen off the rails and they've eaten all these foods and they feel terrible within their body. And it was interpreted like they were vilifying. I'm being careful with my words here because it's I think I heard what the person was trying to say, and I was reading the post like the person who read it and made the post was hating on that person for vilifying foods that they ate and discipline in their bodies and stuff. And I'm trying to find my words around it. There's a difference between where you used to be and where you are now, and having the discipline to go on that journey, and without saying like, in this situation, I'm trying to be very careful with my words here, but it comes back to what you're saying about laying a foundation. And when we lay the right foundation to do our journey, then the change is more permanent, and we appreciate the journey as opposed to just going for the quick fix. Right? So you could probably just scrap everything I just said there as to just say that, yes, you're right. And I hear you on that, because it's, we sometimes hate on people when they do their before and afters, right? And then we celebrate where they are now, and then we don't really look at their journey to get to where they are now.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
There's a cost involved. Yeah, there's a cost involved in it.
Yeah.
The journey's going to cost you. It's worth it, but it's going to cost you something.
Right. So then when people come to you and they're like, I want to look like you, I want to look like this, I want to look like whatever, how does that conversation go for you?
So I'm gonna give you my first answer, and then I'll give you a professional answer. So,
yes.
Hold up. Let me go get my fairy dust and my magic wand, right? Let me work something on you, right? So that breaks the ice. Like, so let's be realistic about it. How about we get your body in optimal condition? How about we get your body functioning better, you know, moving faster and stronger than where you are today? How about that for a goal? But yeah, that's what I'll say. But hold up. Let me get my fairy dust. Let me get my magic wand. Let's work this out, you know. And then we'll come back. Let's reel it back, because your journey is not, you know, it's not my journey. That's like when people do the hashtag body goals. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you put, and I love her, if you put Tiana Taylor up and say those are your body goals, you don't have Tiana's DNA. So you're going to frustrate yourself to get Tiana's body because you don't have her DNA. So that's what people have to understand. It's the foundation. Like, your foundation is not built the same. You can have a nice tight body. You can get it. You definitely can get it, but it's going to be uniquely yours. It won't be a Serena Williams body. I mean, Serena's body is Serena's body. Right.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Nice. So as we were talking earlier, just even our just as we were exchanging a few messages earlier, we were talking about like the moment and enjoying the moment, like living in the moment and being mindful of the moment. Being mindful of the moment, that's the word. Can you just talk a little bit more about that, what that means for you?
That's a note to self. That's a daily for me, because I'm a planner. Yeah, I'm a planner. Well, babies taught me first that, your plans may be today, but I'm going to have this accident before we leave out of the house. And so, that plan is not going to happen. So babies taught me over 20 some years ago that my plans have to be able to navigate the circumstances, to be in the moment.
Yes.
A lot of frustration around that, being a planner to the T. So I'm learning. I'm way better at it now. I'm in my 50s, so yeah, I'm way better at it now.
That's
So
good.
yeah. Oh, I'm that. It's still a learning process because I
Of
do
course.
have to understand that there's something. And then Rona had me like Bambi. I mean, emotionally, physically, psychologically. Last year, I was like, what the what? You know, yeah. So it had me to understand how important the moment is. Just breathe. I mean, breathe. That's one thing you can do. As long as you're conscious, you know, if you're aware, you got control of your breathing, you know, unless you, you know, if you're hyperventilating, but you know, you can still dial it back. There are things that you can do to exercise that. So first breathe. You got to pause, breathe, right? In
Yes.
order to do that. So for me, be present right here, right now. There is something else that's going on. There is something else, you know, that you could be doing. And if you
Mm,
think about it, you lose where you are right now. So
yes.
even when I'm, you know, I'm teaching, and I have black women. I mean, I'm in the 99%, well now 100%, but you know, I've had a few, you know, white students in my class, but black women. And so
Hmm.
what I'd like to have them to understand is you're going to go very few places where somebody tells you to take these next 59 minutes for you. Like they're just totally, totally for you. Shut the
Yeah.
phone down. Because even vibrating, someone else who has a phone that is turned off, your vibrating phone is going to trigger them to want to check their phone. So just 59,
Yes.
okay, now it's 58 minutes. Okay, now it's 57 minutes. But if you take each minute and understand that this is for you on your
Yes.
mat,
Yes.
mind your business. And I mean that, mind your business on your mat. I've even had some people who want to come and they just want to sleep, right? I have a, you know, I use music. So my playlist, they want to take a nap. If this is the only time, if this is your escape, hey,
Hmm.
take a nap. If that's what you need, just take a nap. So be in the moment. And that's a daily note to self for me, to be
Yes.
in the moment.
That I hear that like, in the sense that that must be so refreshing for those women to hear. And my from my days of personal training, talking with women, the number of women who would walk in, men too sometimes, but mainly women who would say, "This is my moment. This is my time, and it's I need this moment, right? Like I've taken care of kids for these many years and whatever, and now finally I have a moment where I can take care of myself, right? So giving space for that, it's a powerful thing. So that's good, really
It
good.
is. And hiking. So over the past maybe about 6 or 7 years now. I've been hiking, so I'm also in the outdoor industry. I'm a hike leader. I'm an outdoor trip leader. I'm a wilderness first responder. So, but one thing I love about hiking in the mountains, and when you get to a certain area in the mountains, depending on the elevation, you get no signal. Your cell phone doesn't work, and so I love to take women out. I mean, they get nervous sometimes, you know, and they're like, "Well, I need to know, you know." Because you can't call. So no matter how many times you hit send, it's not going anywhere. So it forces you to be in the moment.
Right.
You can take some pictures. You can't call nobody. You can take some pictures and show them when we get back down. But for right now, you got to be here. You got to be alert. And you're on a mountain, so you don't want to slip. So you got to be present right here, right now in the moment. I love that about hiking. I love taking first time hikers. I go for the challenge for, you know, with experienced hikers, but I love taking first time hikers out because the responses that I get once we get back off the
Yes.
trail is
Right.
just like, oh my God, I've never done anything like this. And then people were afraid, you know, to go and try because, you know,
Right. Yeah.
that's another story too about black people and trauma in the outdoors. I mean, we just ain't trying to go out there. That's it.
Well,
We just,
yeah. I a city boy, right? Like
yeah,
I mean,
city girl. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But you know what I present to the outdoor industry, and this is not it's not a brag. It's actually factual. If you bring me into a room, so we got, you know, I have my white counterparts that I have me, but if you bring me into a room and you're trying to either sell something or, you know, introduce something to a group of black people, even if they haven't met me before, they would be more willing to go out with me than they would be to go out with somebody else. They'd be like, I don't know about that because y'all like that daring stuff. Y'all like playing with bears, right? So, but looking at me, they're like, well, she sounds like she has good sense. Like, wait a minute. She's
hmm
from the city, from the inner city, from the hood, right? So
right.
she did came out. So I might go somewhere with her. I mean, I'm still a little apprehensive, but I might. I'll at
Right.
least consider it going with
Right.
her.
So who was that person for you that got you out of that mindset?
To go to the outdoors,
Yes.
Girl Trek. It's an organization. It's the largest health movement for black women. Well, in America, but we're also, you know, in Jamaica. We're also, you know, in Africa. But yeah, Girl Trek. Yeah, we encourage women to get out to walk at least 30 minutes a day to improve your health. But we have a retreat that we take every year. It's been going on for the past 5 years, and it's called the Stress Protest. And we go to the Rockies. So we go out to Colorado, we go to the Rockies. 2019, we had about maybe 700 women, maybe 700 to 800 women and these are all Black women that we're taking out to the Rockies. So we're giving them, different outdoor experiences. So that was my introduction to the real outdoors, not just the park, but to the back country, sleeping outside and no technology and intense and sleeping in the snow and all that. Yeah. It was girl trek.
Okay, so last week I was in Milton, like just a suburb of my area here, and I was sitting on a park bench, and this guy comes up to me. I was wearing a sweatshirt, pink sweatshirt, and he's like, "Man, that looks good on you, man." Blah, having this little conversation, and we started talking about his business, and he does outdoor adventures where he takes people, inner city youth, and like just outdoor adventures and stuff. And we're making this conversation about saying the exact same thing you said right now. And I followed him on his website and his Instagram and stuff like that, and I'll check it out and stuff. But you said it right now, and I'm interested. And when he said it then, I was like, okay, that's nice. I'll just. So you're right. There's something about being in. If you were in that room, people would hear that in a different way, because there's a different credibility from your experience and from your perspective, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So
I love it. I mean, just being out in nature and then just sleeping. I mean, sleeping outside is like the best sleep ever. I mean, you don't just go just randomly lay somewhere. I mean, not like that, but you're in a secure place. But you're talking about just the fresh breeze and being able to wake up and open up your tent and you see a lake in front of you and the sun is rising and it's the best.
Right. How many Black people on the chat right now have done this? Hands waved, just out of curiosity. It seems like it seems like I don't know. Like I'm not trying to just play into every stereotype, but that's very unique.
What I get. So I'm a wilderness first responder. So I'm 911 in the backcountry. So when your phone won't reach 911, I'm one of the medics that would come for you. In the backcountry.
Right. There's that safety.
A black wilderness first responder, a female. You know how little that population is. I'm still looking for my sisters. So if you out there, hook up with me.
We're looking at the demographic right now.
Yeah. I am. Yeah. And I get that, when I go in, if I'm going for recertifications and I go different places and they're looking like, yes, I'm here to recertify as a wilderness first responder. Yes, I am the medic. Yes, I got proof. It's just expiration time, so I'm coming to renew. So I've got notes there too, and I know what they're about. And so my ignore game is like
on point. Yeah.
Yeah, I got the face and everything. Like, but I see right past you. Like you see past me, I see right past you. And I'm here for a purpose, and I'm coming to get what I need, and I'm on my way to go back to my people.
Right.
We need it. Nature has such a healing quality that we've gotten so far away from.
Thank you.
Part of it is, trauma is embedded in our DNA. With the outdoors, trauma is there because people did not treat us nicely in the backcountry. They didn't. In the woods, they came to kill us. So we're just not going out there for luxury now. That's just not what we're doing. But when we learn to reconnect with nature, it's the best. It's the best. It is.
So is this the remedy for this trauma, just to get out there in the safety of someone like yourself? Is that it? Is that the only solution?
It's a part of it because some people have it and don't know it. It's like, well, I'm not going out there because there's bears out there. Who told you the bears are out there? How do you know? Like, did you really go and see a bear? You don't know that. Or, because my mama told me don't be out there playing in the woods, right? Why? Because her mama told her don't be playing in the woods. Because her mom, but then the other mama is like, because we're going to die. That part didn't get transferred, but the fear got transferred.
Yes.
All the information, didn't make it. But it just hasn't, our experience just hasn't been pleasant in the outdoors. I mean, and I know that, I acknowledge that. And the group of, the Black, outdoors people that, that I'm familiar with or that I'm associated with, we understand that. So we kind of have the, like a counselor component attached to it as well, a therapist, kind of component attached to it because we understand that there's some trauma that's embedded in being in the outdoors. And so we have to be extra creative in terms of making this, seem fun because like I'm about to I'm just on this little raft and ain't nothing holding me with this one little belt and them waves and nah, I'm good. We were like, yeah, I don't think I want to try that.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so true. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
But we need it. Yeah, we
But
need it.
it's the trauma piece is, I think it's fascinating. I never thought of it to label it, and labels strong, but like to label it as trauma. Because that's so deeply embedded, so far down from the surface that I wouldn't associate with trauma. I
Mm-hmm.
would just say I'm just not interested. The black people die in the horror movies when they go in the woods, so I'm not going to do that sort of mindset.
Right. But that's what I mean by it being embedded. Like some people have a real fear, and I've talked
Yes.
to people like, but what are you afraid? Like you haven't even gone out there, and then I have to do the whole look at me. I'm from the South Side of Chicago. I'm from Inglewood. Do you really think I'm going to go play with some bears? No, I am not interested in playing with bears. I'm not interested in playing with lions. I'm interested in getting the benefits of what nature has to offer. And so a part of that has to be the journey on foot. There are some things that's out there that you cannot see in a car. You have to hike to it. You have to. And it's
Yes.
worth it. It's worth the struggle, to get to it, but it also gives you another part of your brain to tap into. The part
Yes.
that when you step back into the city and you're back in the hustle and bustle, guess what? I can take my mind to the Rockies. I can take my mind to Mills Lake, to Alberta Falls. I
Nice.
remember when I went there, but my pictures that I show you or my videos is not going to do the same thing. If you go to Bear Lake in the Rockies, it does not, my pictures don't do it justice. Like you have to
Yes.
see. There are some things you need to
Yes.
see. So it gets downloaded into our brain and we get a chance to store that. So then we're like, what is it? The Calgon, take me away.
Hmm.
Alberta Falls, take me away. Emerald Lake, take me away. Like you can identify how good
Yes.
it felt and then how accomplished you felt when you made it to the top.
Absolutely.
Mountain climbing. I mean, it's not easy, but it's definitely worth it. It's worth it.
Yes. I hear that. That is, you painted such a beautiful picture there in my head. I'm like,
Now you want to go hiking, right?
now I want to go hiking. I do. And what's funny? Like for all the technical skills that I've learned, gleaned from talking with amazing people here, it was when John Claude Nelson was on a few months ago, and he was talking about how he would reset by just going on his lunch hour into the woods. And he'd go out there in the rain, he'd just take off his shirt and just in the rain and just walk around and just that connection and all these different things. I'm like, okay, that's novel. It's not me. I'll find my own version of that, but I hear what he's saying, and it's challenged me to get out. Even my pictures this morning, I was like 4 o'clock in the morning,
That was
4:45.
nice. That was
I'm
nice.
up. I was up at the waterfront. I just sat there and just like waited for the sun to come up, and that was my point of reflection because Starbucks is closed. My whole province is closed down, so I can't go sit in a Starbucks and write down. It's forced me to be outside. But if I wasn't inconvenienced by that, if I wasn't challenged here, I'd be more than content to not go outside.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
wouldn't consider that trauma. That's just comfort. That's just my comfort.
Right. I
So,
mean, for some people it is, but I'm saying, but for
right.
some people, there really is when that fear is
That's
expressed. It's like, well,
yes.
there are that. Who told you that? Like you didn't even
Yes.
go to see. You scared of what? You didn't even go
Right.
see.
Right.
That's
Exactly.
what I mean. That tradition that has been passed down.
Right. Exactly. So that's what I'm saying about there's this pendulum. There's this from your just like sheer laziness and comfort to extreme trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Someone is along this continuum, and that's the reason for not experience and for missing out on this, right?
Yeah. 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 And then you said something about like the sunrise. So this is just my belief. It's not a scientific fact or uh, uh, phenomena. That I want everyone to believe in. But this is just for me. I think you have the duality of the sun, of people's attraction to the sun. So you have some people who love sunrises and some people who love sunsets. I'm a sunrise girl, so I like to call that the other golden time of day because sunset is Frankie Beverly is the golden time of day, but it's something about what I identify as it's like the majesty of simplicity, right? It's the sun, but I
Yes.
like to see it as it's just like this is really so majestic is the word, it's like the
Yes. Yes.
majesty of simplicity, but to watch the sun rise, like with that man's assistance, contrary to popular belief, but nature doesn't need our help like that. But just to watch it and then to understand that there are so many things that are right there on that horizon. So especially if you can
Yeah.
see it over the water,
Yes.
there's a lot going on the other side. And then as this comes up, like different things start to change. Our
Mm-hmm.
energy, we're connected to the earth. And if people, they may or may not believe it, but, our bodies are actually connected, to the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And so that changes your perspective on your whole day. If you can
It
just watch
absolutely
the
does.
sunrise, and like you said, so you were restricted because of, the restrictions, the physical restrictions you have there. But if you're able to just sit there and utilize that time, like, well, I got something to do. No, you don't. Watch the sunrise, right? Just sit here and see how you feel about it. Don't
Yes.
be so impatient. And that's a part of the note to self with me. Don't be so impatient to see how long it takes for it to rise. Just watch it. Just watch
Yes.
it rise
Right.
and see how you feel as the sun rises.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right. I'm not gonna pretend I was so pious that I didn't check my watch to double check that it's 5:47. That, you know what I'm saying? But I was there. I was
Right.
there.
Yay. Right. Exactly. You're
Um,
human. You're human. That's what we do.
yeah, right. Scoop Pilates had a point here. Phil Griffin was saying it's like swimming. Blacks weren't allowed in pools back in the day, so it's carried over.
Yes, exactly. Yes, that is it. Because I meet people too. It's like, I'm scared. I'm scared of the water. But what is the water gonna do to you? Like who told you that? Like, how do you know that? Did you try it? Some people won't even try it. And as adults, I mean, that's really hard. So when I see someone who has a baby, a black person, put the baby in the water. When I see black babies swimming, I love it. I love it. I mean, swimming, that was just one of the things that we did, in our neighborhood. I mean, I can say it now because I'm grown and all this stuff, but we used to sneak into the pool right at night to go night swimming at the park district. We would go and sneak in the pool. I mean, that was a part of us growing up. So
Yeah.
for me, I don't really remember life without swimming. And I
Mm.
know, it's pretty unique, when it comes to, but my dad taught me how to swim in Lake Michigan. I thought I was in the ocean. I was like so fascinated. I thought he taught me. My mother wasn't happy about it and she went off, but I came home. Like, Daddy took me swimming in the ocean. She was like, you took my baby. I didn't know. It was fun to
Right,
me.
right.
Thought I was swimming in the ocean. But yeah, that's a good point with swimming as well. Yeah.
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 Your countenance changed and your face is lit up when we started talking about outside.
Yes. Yes. We needed more. We live in a society now where most things are done inside and we're sitting down. So we have these
Yes.
artificial, you know,
Speak it.
filters and air circulating. Just like now with people saying it's safe to go back into certain places. I don't believe you tore the whole building down and redid the ventilation system. It's the same system. Recirculating the air. So anytime you can get out and get some fresh air into your lungs, get some
Yes.
sun, shining on your skin, it's a difference. It really is. We are more connected to nature than we acknowledge.
Right. I see that, and I'm sure people watching would agree with this too, with my boys, right? Like now, my I'm remarried. My wife is from Utah. She's an outdoor person. Like she could say everything you just said to me right now, sleeping in Moab and doing all those different things. But my two city kids, suburbanites, the times that I take them to the water, the times I take them to a forest, no matter how much they want to stay on their devices and how much they really aren't interested. If I said, hey, do you want to go for a walk to a waterfall today? They'd be like, man, whatever. They go, they just come alive
Mm-hmm.
in such a real way when they're out there. It's like they become boys again. They don't have to become these sophisticated, like I'm too cool to do anything. They just awaken in such
Yeah.
a real way. Yeah.
Yeah, and I take a group of girls out. Well, Rona stopped that last year too, but these are my tiny trekkers, my tiny girl trekkers. I call them TNT because they
Yeah.
got that boom, they got that fire, but they are trekkers in training, right?
Yeah.
We go camping and we sleep in tents, and and when parents come drop them off, you have my number. I recommend that they don't send a device because I'm not looking for anybody's $700, $800 iPhone. I'm just not. So if you
Mm-hmm.
sent it and tried to sneak and talk to your baby and she lost it, I'm not looking for it. Do not call Coach Robin about her phone
Yeah.
because I don't know where it is. So
Right.
I encourage them not to, leave them with devices because, like you said, I let them be kids. We have games, we have different board games, we got the jump ropes, we got bubbles. We have a lot of different things that they have to be creative in terms of navigating, like, well, what do I do with this? Or what do I, and they will sit down, they, and they naturally gravitate toward, one another, whichever little pods. And it's not about, well, you're her sister and you're her cousin, and naturally navigate to wherever you're going to go to end up in whatever group. And then we challenge them to learn 3 things about somebody who they didn't know. So that's when the sisters and the cousin groups, that's when they have to break up, because they got to reach out to somebody, but to allow them to just be kids. And then we have parents like, you gonna be okay, baby? If you say that one more time, Mom, I'm gonna ask you to take her back with you, because you're putting something in her that I got to deal with. She's fine. She's fine. If something happens, I will call you, but she's fine. You drop her off. You can check in with me maybe once a day, because I have helicopter parents. And when I see your number, hey, parents, I'm talking to my parents now. Hey, parents. Yeah. When I see your number, you just called me 2 hours ago. So what do you want? She's hot. She's playing. She's getting bit by mosquitoes. She's having a ball, right?
Right, yeah.
She's over there. She's having a ball.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. That's that's awesome. I mean, now have you worked with boys at all, or is it just like you're just your heart's for these women and you're just trying to connect with these young girls and stuff like that, or have you noticed a difference? Have you worked with boys, and have you noticed a difference with working with boys in the way that they respond to the outdoors? Hey, Sonia.
Well, not professionally with boys, but I got a lot of nephews. I come from a huge family, so a lot of nephews, and so when I'm with them, it's the same rules for safety. But I've learned to not jump so much. I mean, I have a boy, and by the time he was 2, I had to stop jumping, because I was going to end up in a ward somewhere, with him, just very, and he's still that way. I mean, just very adventurous. So with boys, I actually give them, I don't want to say a little more leeway. Well, what I do is I give myself a little more grace. That's what it is. I don't restrict them the same way like I won't restrict the girls. The girls tend to be a little bit more careful. They think like me. You think like a woman, like a female. So they won't necessarily they'll take adventures, but boys, it's like,
more reckless abandon.
Yeah, no broken bones, but like with my nephews, it's like my nephews and my great nephews, like, look, I have some sticks, I got some duct tape, I got some peroxide, like, this is how we're going to hook you up. So if you break something, you don't want a branch, holding your arm together, I suggest you don't do that,
Right.
But I let them be boys. I let boys be boys.
Yeah. It's funny you say that, because my son had this meme he showed me the other day where it said, like, for boys, all you need is an island and enough rocks.
Right.
And then give him enough time, he'll destroy every rock in the water, and that's all he needs. Right? Like,
and boxes. They like boxes, cardboard boxes. They like boxes.
Yep. I'm talking 15-year-olds, and not like 5-year-olds, right? Like, yeah. Yep. No, that's good. That's that makes me come alive just to even think about that. That challenges me in different ways, because we could talk Pilates all day. We could talk about your foot turning in or out or whatever it is, but this is what makes you come alive. This is what makes you unique. And everything else kind of comes alongside that.
And even being outdoors, it allows you, one, to be in a natural space, but it also allows your body to move the way it should naturally be moving. Now, of course, Pilates is going to help you, it's going to enhance your ability to move through certain spaces. Because if you're hiking, and my hikers out there, hey, if you all know, if you have to scramble, right? So if you have to go through an area where you're using all fours, that's scrambling on some rocks and some things may be loose, or if you have to go across a log, you do need good balance. You do need good, a solid core. You need to be able to navigate and know what your body is doing, or at least send your body the right signal to say, yeah, that may not be safe, to do, because you saw the hiker in front of you do it. Well, that hiker may have different skills than you have to be able to step on that part, and then you step on it only because, once again, you're imitating what they did, but they stepped on it because it was safe for them. And then you end up, now look at you, down in the water, right? You're not paying attention, right? You're down in the water. Yeah. So it all ties in. I mean, Pilates is movement, and it is that movement. I love to look at it as a one-stop shop. So if you want to change it to a strength training workout, you can. If you want to change it to a cardio workout, you can. If you want flexibility, you got it. If you want balance, you got it. So you're able to enhance on so many different levels by doing Pilates.
It's like pizza.
Yeah. It's your adventure. You choose your course. You pick the path.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Put on what you like. Nice. How's my friend Sonia doing? See
Hey,
you.
Sonya,
Thank
is
you.
she on here?
Yeah, she is. Sonia's there. Lincola just had a comment earlier saying hikes into waterfalls and hot springs are my favorite.
Nice. Yeah, yeah. I'm a water girl. So there's a water feature there. I'll take on the challenge so I can get to the water. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, it's a conversation I'm having with my son the other day about whether he prefers like going to the like I like just going to the water as well, just drive straight down. But then also liking going to the woods. So I was asking him which one he preferred, going to out into the forest, out into woods, or out into the water, and he's like the woods, right? Like
Mhm.
in the sense of like the trees and the breathing and all those different things. So yeah, we're good. Nice, Sonia there. Do we want to talk? What was the last group? Was it the PMA one that we're in, or some
You
discussion
said
thing?
it. You
Yes,
said the letters.
I
Okay, let's
did.
go. Let's go.
You notice I left until like 52 minutes when we got through like the real good stuff first?
Okay. I'm with it. I'm with it. Come on. I'm in the moment. Remember, I got to be in the moment.
Yes. Okay, so I'm not sure if she's still here, but someone was saying that with the new candidates that are coming up, they wanted them to come onto this show just so we could talk and just hear their heart and hear what their opinion is. And it's interesting how there's this a very gentle divide between people who are saying, I want to be a part of this, see how we can affect change, and people who are saying, I'm over this. We need to go somewhere else. For myself, I feel like it's no longer the downtown core. It's somewhere in the suburbs now. So if you want to do it, but it's not central to who we are and what we do anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Just in general with the PMA, and that was it. So what's your thoughts, being in the Pilates community, what's your thoughts on where the PMA is at and what they're doing, what their next pivot is?
So from what I'm learning, so I am an outsider looking in because I've
Mm-hmm.
never been, a member, and I
Same.
mean, I don't have an interest in it. Yeah. So, but from what I'm understanding, this is what it's sounding like to me, that this organization has not had us at the forefront. And not only have they not had us at the forefront, even if we were to come, we weren't a first thought. We weren't a second thought. So it's kind of like, yeah, well, you're here, and then you maybe have, that one person who was able to rise above whatever they were ignoring. You have that one person that comes through, and so this becomes the representative, and one person is not representative of our whole community.
Right. The
So
Pilates Method Alliance. Sorry, Rhonda. Rhonda's asking about PMAs. Yes.
Yeah, now you said the whole name, man. Okay.
I had to answer.
I know, you had to clarify. I know.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
but for me,
so we're an afterthought.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so for me, what I'm hearing is like, these people haven't been nice to us. So what I'm not understanding, and I guess this comes a part of, I'm going to support you. So if you're Black, if you're there, I'm going to support you in the ways that I can.
Mm-hmm.
To support you as being a person that's in a community that may not have us at the forefront. So in terms of that, but if my support is a part of my support is I have to give them some money to support you. Yeah, now you got to convince me why I need to give them my money. So that becomes a totally different story at that point.
That's a return on investment question.
Money.
So at that point, it's a return on investment question at that point.
Yeah. So what is it going to do for you? If I give it to them, I mean, are they going to give it directly to you? So I look at it like this. So if it's whatever the membership is, let's just say $50, $100. My preference would be to give it to a Black studio owner who had to close, because I have a better chance of knowing that was invested into a Black business than to give it over there. And they may or may not consider in reinvesting this, into my community. So to keep hearing it and to keep hearing it and keep hearing it, I'm just trying to figure out, why are we expending so much energy to help people who hurt us, who may turn around and hurt us again? Because at the foundation, it hasn't changed. So we're back to the foundation. That part hasn't changed. So the surface has changed and it's looking good. Like my building, when I went and built it, and my instructor was like, yeah, I need a blueprint. But it's looking good, right? I got all the windows in it. So so for me, I'm stuck on that part of it. So if that hasn't changed, and if we weren't considered at the table when the first line went down to say, well, this is what we're going to do. So now it becomes start a whole new organization. So if you already have an organization, what is it about us, right, So what is it about the Black community that's going to make you completely tear down your entire organization so that we can be a part of it? Now, to me, on that end, that doesn't make sense because this is mine. And you're telling me I'm going to tear my whole house down to let a few people in. This is just me outside
Right.
looking in.
Right.
So on our side, all the energy that we're giving up, if everybody has, so you got 10 people have 10% of energy, you got 100% over here.
Yeah.
So wouldn't it make more sense to just take that 100% of energy over to the other side?
Right.
So I'm observing, and it just ain't looking good to me at this point. It's not.
Right, exactly. That's good. And that's why I asked you, because I understand that you're not the person who had been presenting for 15 years for the PMA and all these different things. So that's a valuable perspective. That's market research at that point, if that's heard, because those are people that don't see the value of this. And are you after that market? And if you are, what's in it for them?
Why? Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Why? Right? So we don't have to dive any deeper than that. That makes perfect sense to me. And those are the questions. Those are the questions you need to answer, right? Like, I mean, in the back room, those are the questions that need to be answering. Why do we want them in the room? What's the value for them in the room? What does it do for us when they're in the room? And what is a competition that is out there for them? Right? So what are they competing against? So I mean, all those different things have to come into play, and that's why I say that, like, if they can't answer those questions, then it is not the center of the universe for the Pilates community.
Correct. And we can coexist without bad blood. Like, don't take it so personal. If we decide that we want to go and do our own thing, if you want to feel, if you want to say, well, you're excluding us, well, yeah, we're just bold enough to say it, right? You've been doing that. You just snuck it in. You just kind of threw some stuff, by the side, if that were the case. Mm-hmm. But when this is a good example, and I was, just having a conversation with somebody about this with Chick-fil-A. So Chick-fil-A is closed on Sundays, right?
Okay.
Chick-fil-A will pop up a restaurant right across the street from Popeyes and KFC, and they are not worried about that.
Right.
So what's the problem? Like, why can't you keep what you have? And for those people who decide that they want to go over there, that's fine. But why are we fighting? And we can't be the Chick-fil-A? Like, Chick-fil-A, from my understanding, they do very well. But they're not worried. They're not saying, well, since Popeyes and KFC is open on Sundays, we're going to open on Sunday. They're like, no, this is what we do on Sundays, and we're going to stick to this, and we're going to continue, doing what we've been doing. And I think they're doing fine. I think they're all doing fine.
Yeah, exactly. All of them are doing fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we solved the problems of the world today.
Yes. It doesn't feel great. I've enjoyed myself. Yeah, I've enjoyed myself. We're at time. That was good.
That was good. Mm-hmm. And sorry, can you say something? I think you lost the volume there.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, it went tinny there for a second. Or
okay.
Can you hear it now?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
Okay, yeah, it did drop off a little bit, but that's fine.
Okay.
But thank you. I accept the challenge to get outside more, to just breathe, to find that sun, and don't check the time waiting for its arrival. Yes.
Yes, definitely get out and enjoy. Yeah, reconnect with nature, because you're already connected, whether you want to fight it or not. Or reconnect with it. Intentionally reconnect with nature.
I'll tag you every time I get some outside sunshine pictures out there for you.
Yes.
Nice. No, thank you so much. Thank you also to everyone who joined us today. I really appreciate everyone who's been with us all week and for cheering on Coach Robin today. And it's been so good. All right, my friend, I will send you the replay of this. Thank you again for joining me. I really, really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Thanks everyone for joining us.
All right, take care.
Take care.
All right, bye.